So I'm trying to introduce people to the small independents who really need the love. And thank goodness my column, which is just very conversational, not a critical food review, drives people to that, which is just terrific. I don't really cook much dinner at all. I'll roast some cauliflower, that's about it. But I do have a terrible case of post-traumatic restaurant disorder. So when I go to a restaurant and I see things that are wrong all the time, I start to feel that feeling, and that's nishkit.
It is, it's called perfection.
Oh,
You know, I'm glad you're retired, that's great, but now I have nothing to look forward to when I go visit.
So if you go on the Chicago Tribune website and you type in Breakfast with Ina, all my columns will come up on one page along with a gallery of pictures that they took of the dishes I ate. And now you can be the Starka and tell your family when you come to town where they are going to eat.
And you can also buy Ina's cookbook and make some of the items in home, and you can invite Ina to dinner.
Is your French toast in that?
It is.
Oh.
Everything is in there. Everything that
The French
vegetarians...
toast is the best in the world.
It really is. And what's so great
Thank you
is
very
that
much.
you make it over, it's an overnight, so you find a very commercial Texas toast kind of bread, but it has to be commercial. If it's too eggy and too much like challah, it's going to fall apart. And you really put it in the cooler, soaked overnight, and bake it off in the morning, so that's a good thing. So yeah, I decided with the book, and thank you for bringing that up, I have no family to whom to leave these recipes. You know, you and your family really become my family. And so it was important for me to document every recipe that we did in the restaurant and put it in the book along with stories. So it's just memoir and it's recipes. Simple, easy, because remember I was a self-taught cook. Did I ever tell you I didn't bake my first cake till I was 37? I had never separated egg whites.
Really?
I had never beaten egg whites. I had never melted chocolate. I made a cake and I started a business.
With Ina Bucks. I think that is so
That was
clever.
with a restaurant with Ina Bucks, yeah. I'm sure it's against the law.
We won't tell anybody.
When I went to open the last restaurant, I did the same thing again, but this time I had to give $12 for every 10. You know,
Would you tell them about the flash mob?
oh, the flash mob. So I'm having breakfast with my friend Kathleen Perry in my restaurant. And it was an anniversary, it was my birthday or the anniversary of the restaurant, I don't even remember. It was in March, so it must have been the anniversary of the restaurant. And we're sitting there, and as you saw, we had no cell phones allowed. Now, if you needed to text, fine, as long as it was quiet. No ringing, no talking. If you needed to get a call, we asked you to vibrate and then take it to the front door. And in many ways, we changed the whole culture of that in Chicago, because people get up from the table and they'll take the phone call somewhere else. Well, I'm sitting and having breakfast with Kathleen, which was a treat during the Houseware show, and all of a sudden I hear a phone ring, and I go like this, and then another phone is ringing over there, and then I'm ringing over there, and these darling children, about 10 children, had put together a little flash mob. They got up from their chairs and they did this song, and they did it, and the signal was to do all the cell phones. It was such a great day, such a great day. Yeah, so was I. So, are you really, you kidding me?
No, I did. No, not familiar part. There are a lot of people look like this.
Well,
70 seconds.
so we were at 80th and 19th Avenue. 81st Street, 19th Avenue. Were you close?
Close to the train.
Beeline.
Uh-huh.
I went to Utrecht. I don't know.
I was supposed to go to New York, but, you know, my dad got a little money and we bought a split level for $29,000 in Woodmere, Long Island. So I got out.
Well, we moved to Long Island too, but a little later than
A
that.
little later than that. So yeah, so Landsman. I was right about Brooklyn though, right? Wasn't it a time?
Oh,
It was a great
wonderful.
time.
Used to walk around the corner to the candy store.
Right, we all
And
did.
the theater and all that
The
stuff.
Benson, I know, and Loews. Yes?
Hi, what happened to your husband and what is your relation with him now?
Oh, I'm glad you asked. You know, we have never forgotten why we loved each other, and so we have a remarkable and wonderful relationship. He's in Puerto Rico where he charters a big catamaran that he has, after he came back from his trip around the world, he got this extraordinary position of becoming a captain of the slave ship Amistad in Connecticut. And he was spending all of his time there, and that's when I said, you know, I really can't be married and not married. And it was really time. I was just finished being married. And I always laugh and I say, I was just tired of finding his keys. That's really the bottom line. So a couple of months ago, I see that they have this little white tile that you put on your keys, and then your smartphone, you hit a button, and your keys beep in the house. So I sent it to him right away, and he goes, damn, could have saved our marriage. I wrote back, no. So he's good, he's healthy, thank God he's well, he's got a big catamaran, and he's very happy, and I deeply, deeply love him. Oh yeah, that's a good question. I could never fit the corporate culture. Does that surprise you? So I always made up my own rules. You know, I didn't know I was an entrepreneur, but I was treating every job as though it was my business. So my employees were happier, you know, my departments, or we had flex time before there was such a thing.
Women.
Oh, I know. I got fired for the strangest reason once. You know, women were not allowed to wear pants to work. They weren't allowed to even wear pants to restaurants in those days, in the 70s. And so I came to work, and I was wearing a pair of pants underneath my dress because it was cold in New York City. I took a bus, had to walk, get to my office, and I had to walk from the front door all the way to the ladies' room before I went back to my desk. And I wore the pants in. And this was on a Friday. And Sunday I got a telegram telling me not to come to work because I broke this rule.
Wow.
I know. So I got fired for a lot of really good reasons.
One more question of you?
I'm sorry, this isn't a question. This is just to tell you that you are such an inspiration to me on so many levels.
Oh, thank you.
I've had struggles with doing things like you do, and I am friends. I'm from Chicago. I've lived here 24 years, and I'm friends with Paula Haney from Huge Mama Pie.
I love that girl.
Yes, I love her too, and she said, you need to hook up with Ina Pickney one day because you have so many similar stories to her. So I tried to get a ticket I saw your article after she said that. It's been months, and I saw the newspaper article, and I thought, this is it. I need to go see her, and I need to get her book. And then when I went online to get a ticket, it was sold out. So I came today.
Excellent. Well, come over to get the book, and then we'll exchange email addresses.
Yes, it was amazing
I'm
how
so
this whole
happy.
thing turned out, and Kleenex fell on my car. I don't know where it came from, but a pack of Kleenex fell on the floor, and I thought, why? And I picked it up and brought it in. Who would know that I'd be crying through this whole movie, and I needed the Kleenex. So I just want to say you are just a wonderful woman and such an inspiration to, I'm sure, so many people. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to thank the audience for being so engaged. You know, one more question.
I think we've got one more question. Happy for your retirement. My question though was, you've had a lot of obstacles both personally and professionally. In your professional life, what is the obstacle that you've overcome that you're the most proud of?
You know, it's interesting. The obstacles to opening my own business were really not significant to me in any way. All I needed was some bucks and a space. I knew, as I said in the movie, that I could do it better than I had seen it done. Being a woman in the business was not an obstacle. I mean, they never considered me a player when I opened. And that didn't matter because that meant we never got reviewed, which I loved. You know, better to have people write about you than to critique you. So that was really important. So I never found any obstacles there. If I have a fearlessness, it's because I learned it from the book Madeline. Madeline was my heroine because she, a little girl who had an operation, and she went to a hospital and she had a scar. That was me, and I didn't know anybody else like that. But she also was fearless, and no matter what the other kids in the class did, she was often climbing fences and, you know, going up to the cage in the zoo. And so I thought at that moment, this is the life I need to create for myself, one that honors who I am inside. I've always been this way, which as you can imagine in the 50s, didn't didn't work out so well. And the 60s. I mean, I was always this very independent, thoughtful, how do I make a meaningful life out of what I have? But in terms of business, I'm just proud that I started the smoking ban in Chicago, and I made a place for people to work where they could take care of their families. That, if those are my two biggest, achievements, amen.
Amen. Thank you, everybody. Let me just say that after we leave here, we will be going to the Cook's Warehouse store. It is right next to Whole Foods in the same shopping center. Ina will be signing her book, and we certainly hope that you can join us. Again, thank you so much for coming, and thanks for supporting the Atlanta Jewish Film Festival.
Thank you all.